Company culture, often ignored, but very important part of the business. What does it mean to have great company culture? What does it translate into, right? How can we use it? And why do a lot of companies forget it? It's really an interesting question. So, what does it translate into? It translates into expectations, translates into processes, values, um, presenting a good company unified face to the general public and especially to your customers, right? So it's an important element, but it's only going to work if it's done right and it's put on paper. And that's where the rubber meets the road, and that's where you can put it into practice in a way that can become a big asset for the company. So I wanted to take a second and just like look at this and see how we can implement culture and use it to our advantage. Specifically, I think of staffing. It's one of these topics that a lot of people have issues with. A lot of business owners have issues with lately is staffing. And I do think that if you take the company culture and you apply it from the very beginning, so even before the first interview, you have the culture stand out. Like, for example, in your you're doing a job listing and you have it on Indeed and you're describing what the job requirements are, you're describing what the job looks like, that's all culture and brand, right? So it's the details of the job, but how you express that is how they're going to conceive it. If it's low energy on paper, if it doesn't sound fun on paper, they're going to perceive it as boring before they even step in for the interview. So they're already thinking, oh man, this is a grind. I'm already, but it's okay. It's just a job versus, wow, I get to go here. This is amazing. If I get hired, I'm going to kill it. This is going to be great. Right. So you have this complete shift in perception and reality for them. And it can be a game changer in how your staff operates. And when they shift their mindset, the customer perceives it, the customer sees it. So all of these things come together. But you have to, as the owner operator, as the CEO, as the manager, as the boss, establish this early on and put it on paper, even for yourself. You have to know what your corporate values are. You have to know what you find important, how your text and your company should look and feel and act in front of the customer, right? If you don't know it off the top of your head, then they're not going to either, right? So it's got to be ingrained and it's got to be repeatable. So once it's on paper, it becomes repeatable. It becomes something that you can hand off to your management team. They can, or yourself, you can use it yourself so you don't forget. But either case, someone can take that information and teach it to the next person. And that becomes scalable, it becomes repeatable, it becomes an asset. And it's something that's easily implemented, but mostly forgotten. And in this case, I want to really look at it towards staffing. So you're creating these listings, the info is jumping off the pages, people are getting excited, you're going to have a higher likelihood that people are going to apply. Now, with applications, there's going to be tons of applications anyway. But if you just have a few key people get attracted to it and see a few things written in a certain way that sounds interesting, that sounds exciting, you're going to get spark some interest. They're going to come in there with a little bit of a different mindset into those interviews, and when they do come to the interview, if you do embody the culture, if you do embody that branding, you got your cool hat on, you got your pool service hat on, you got great, really crisp polo shirt on, you got everything going, the truck's clean out front, the store's clean, the office is clean. If you embody what you're teaching and what you're presenting, it's going to show, it's going to come right across, and they're going to love it. They're going to love working there, they're going to love being there. And that's a big deal. I think if you can take this company culture and ingrain it from the beginning, it creates a different vibe. It creates a vibe that people are attracted to. And when you have that, you're going to have less likely to have turnover, and that's another big thing. So, getting the right people in the door and then keeping them on for as long as possible is another issue. So you have two separate things. So I think establishing those expectations, establishing those values early on, getting them on paper, getting them translated to the technicians, the staff, and then having them repeat it to the customer and embody it to the customer. All of a sudden, you guys are pros, you're streamlined, everybody's on the same page. It's a fantastic look. And it really comes across. The companies that do this really well are the ones you hear about, are the big Fortune 500s. They're the ones that really do this well. I'm sure every single one of you has some experience where you went somewhere and you had great customer service, right? And they embodied the brand of it, whether it was a theme park you love or whether it was like a burger spot that you love. That's only, that has a very simple menu and just tons of friendly staff, right? You know the one. So it's something that the customers can look, see and feel. And when you've done that, you've won, and this is something easily implemented, but easily forgotten as well. So wanted to take a minute to really just dive into that idea of, company culture, how that impacts branding, staffing, and retention over time. And retention's big. It costs money to hire and fire crews. It costs money to retrain, and not to mention sometimes they do damage. A bad employee can lose your business. A bad employee can lose long-term customers, right? A bad employee can damage vehicles, can damage property, pools. They can do tons of bad before you even have the idea to fire them, right? So bad techs, people who don't understand the values and what your business is all about, they're going to be difficult to replace, costly to replace, and the after effects of the damage can be huge if you get the wrong people on staff. So we want to avoid that. We want to mitigate that. We want to get the right people in play. And this is one way that's a little outside the box thinking and how you can get those great talents in the door and keep them and grow with them. If they have an idea that, hey, I can grow with this company, for example, if one of your common values within the culture is growth, growing the pool routes, getting additional managers, having, the guy starts as a tech, he becomes a manager, becomes an area manager as you've grown to 1,000 pools or 1,500 pools. That becomes a growth path. That becomes something that's exciting that they can rely on and think about, and take ownership with. So these are some of the great things that can come from, establishing the company culture early. So you establish it up here, and then all of a sudden they're following that path, right? So it's one of those great ideas that are easy to implement and can have huge benefits if done right. So let's think about it. Let's talk about it. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Pool Millionaire is our community where you can talk about these types of ideas. The link will be in the description below for Pool Millionaire. Come check it out. We have weekly trainings. Pool Profits is our digital marketing agency. So make sure to check us out if you already have your pool company out there and you're looking to grow, you're looking to scale. We have the systems, we have the AI voice, we have text message, we have email drip campaigns, pay per click, Google ads, Facebook ads. We got it all. It's all ready, it's all done. We got great systems for you to implement. So we're ready when you are. All right, guys. See you next time. Thank you. Talk to you soon.